Welcome to another video. My name is Christen. I am a personal trainer. I am an online fitness coach. Welcome to another video. My name is Christen. I am a personal trainer. I am an online fitness coach, and I am here to tell you why your crash diet is the reason that you're not seeing progress. By definition, a crash diet, or in terms of crash diet, is something that you want to lose a lot of weight in a short period of time. So in my previous video that I just made, and I'll link that here somewhere, but in my previous video that I made, we talked about metabolism. And we know that with your metabolism, that the amount of muscle mass that you have, the more muscle mass that you have, the higher or faster your metabolism is. The more you weigh, the higher your metabolism is, because it's a way of keeping you alive. So the more that you have on you, the more muscle, the more weight in general, the harder your body works to sustain its life. So the reason that a crash diet is so bad, and why I think that you should go for the slow and steady route is as much as the slow and steady route isn't sexy, the benefits to going slow and steady is, one, you can incorporate foods that you like. Two, you retain more of that muscle mass, so your metabolism doesn't crash like it would on a crash diet, hence probably the name of crash diet. Three, you are able to have that energy to fuel your workout. So when you're restricting your calories so much by doing these fad diets, it sucks energy out of you. Food is culture, but food is also energy. Food is fuel for your body. Calories are fuel for your body. Now, when you go slow and steady, it means that you can still have foods that you enjoy. So how is that going to affect you psychologically? That's the question, is when you're sitting here and you can sustain this for 2 weeks, you can sustain a crash diet for 2 weeks, but what happens after that 2 weeks? What happens after that 1 month when your vacation's over and you lost 20 pounds? What are you gonna do after that vacation? Are you gonna sustain this, or are you gonna do the slow and steady? Because when we're looking at I'm speaking from personal experience, when we're looking at our bodies, we're not trying to find something that I can feel good about myself just tomorrow. I want to feel good about myself tomorrow, and then in 6 months, in 1 year. I want to be proud. I want to be confident, to where I can, if it is something with body image, if it is something with how we're feeling, if we don't feel strong, if we feel weak, is I want something that I can do long term. So I know that 6 month Justin is going to be just as happy as tomorrow Justin. And how do you build upon that progress? So when you crash diet, let's get into the details of this. When you crash diet, what ends up happening is, let's say you're doing that 20 pounds in 1 month that you're trying to lose. When you crash diet, what ends up happening is you boost your calories super low. So you're eating way fewer calories than your body needs to sustain. And when you do that, you burn fat, yes, but it also needs to pull. There's only so much energy that it can pull from your fat at one point. So then it starts pulling from your muscle. So what that does is, one, your body weight is dropping, but then two, your lean muscle mass is also dropping. So some people, when they do these crash diets, if you've probably heard of the word skinny fat, that's probably what I felt like after I had lost all of my weight. When I went from 270 down to 220, that 50 pounds, I didn't do it in this span of like 3 months. It was a little bit longer. It was probably 6 months. I can't recall. I'd have to look back. But what ended up happening is I got to that point and I said, oh, well, the scale looks good. The scale looks down, but blah. And maybe I'll throw my picture up of what I looked like as that skinny fat person, is throw that picture up somewhere to where you could see. And maybe by your standards, it looked okay. But by my standards, it was not what I wanted. It was not what I envisioned. I thought, well, yeah, my face is leaner. I look skinnier, but I was just like, yeah. So my next idea was how do I transform my body? How do I feel stronger? How do I feel more confident? How do I enjoy how I look? And it's nothing more than for myself, because when I look good, I feel good. When I feel good, I'm a better father. I'm a better friend. I'm a better person when I'm more confident. And I think that's true for all of us. When we're all confident, we don't sit here and we don't criticize, just random people on the internet. We aren't just trolling people on the internet. We can let things go more because we're more confident in ourselves. So when I did that crash diet, and I would say mine was about a half crash diet, because I was able to sustain it for a long term, but it was also because I had the motivation to do it. Some people, when they have this crash diet, they don't necessarily have that long-term motivation. They're looking at 1 week, 2 weeks, and they're expecting to lose 15 pounds in that time. And while some people can do that, that's not something that you can sustain. So how do you build those habits to where you can, once again, be proud of yourself for long term? How do you build this life that you envision? How do you live the slow and steady pace without getting into that mindset of I need to diet today. Because if you would have started your diet for your vacation, or your diet for your wedding, or your diet for whatever it is that you're trying to lose weight for, to be more confident for, if you would have started that 6 months ago, you would have done this. Instead, we were procrastinated and we put off saying, I'll start Monday. I will start at the beginning of the month. I will start January 1st. We make all of these excuses to where we push it off until it's too late, and then we force ourselves to crash diet. And it's not a fun feeling. So it's having that wherewithal, or that understanding that if you want something, start now and take the easier route to where you're losing a pound, pound and a half per week, depending on how big you are, maybe upwards of 2.5 pounds. But don't go to where you're trying to lose 5 pounds a week constantly, because 1, you're gonna starve yourself. 2, you're gonna hate your life. And 3, it's not gonna be sustainable. And then 4, maybe when you get to that point like me, you'll just be, was this really worth it? I mean, the weight's down, but maybe you start a new challenge for yourself. So slow and steady will allow you to fuel your workouts. Slow and steady will allow you to keep as much muscle mass as you can. When we're losing weight, it's not all body fat that comes off. And what you can do to offset that is you can get your protein up and you can keep that muscle as much as you can. But when your body is burning fat, and this is why the keto idea is not necessarily, I guess I don't want to criticize it, but at some point, we're just energy. We're balls of energy. Like, our bodies are energy. So when we're burning energy, it doesn't matter where it's coming from. But when you are able to sustain your protein, and that's probably what helps keto, I guess, is because it just eliminates carbs. But when you're able to sustain your protein in your workouts, you are able to keep that muscle mass, which then helps keep your metabolism a little bit higher. But then it also helps make you look better. It helps make you look tone, which is the number one thing that people tell me when I ask them what their goals are. They say, I just want to tone. And what they're looking at is, they're not looking at that skinny fat like I was. They were looking at that idea of slim, and have, maybe some curves, or maybe have some definition in their arms if it's a male, or females, or their back. It doesn't matter. But how do you sustain that? It's not this. And I guarantee you can try that. Actually, if you want to try that, I implore you to try that. But if it fails, then I want you to try this. And I want you to send me an email, and I want you to say, Justin, what do I need to do this? And we can figure out your energy level. And it's a guessing game at first, but we can figure out your energy level. And I can tell you how many calories to take in. I can tell you how much protein to eat. And I can tell you what to do for workouts. It doesn't have to be a crash diet to where you have to run 5 miles per day and go to the gym for 3 hours, and then you have to eat 0 calories. Sure, you'll lose weight, but I also guarantee you'll hate your life. And the slow and steady, you can still go for your walks. You can go to the gym. You can eat the foods you like in moderation for some of them, but you can find ways to make it work to where you're not just eating chicken, rice, and broccoli and oatmeal with no flavoring and just hate, the life. It's life is meant to be enjoyed, but we can enjoy life with a balance. We can enjoy life without just going everything off of the deep end, and we can enjoy life in the sense of, we don't have to give up one thing, our food and our love for that, just because we want something on our weight loss journey or our body transformation. We can do both, to where we can have foods we like, but we can also make progress here. It's not an all or nothing. It's not a zero-sum game. It's both sides can win. It's just about finding that balance. And I know it's hard for people to find that balance, because it's small tweaks. It's getting the leaner meats. It's cooking with lower calorie sauces. It's maybe not adding as much ranch to your salad. It's maybe, like I do, it's maybe watering down light ranch and letting it spread more, so I get more ranch taste, but with not as many calories. And it's making those tweaks that people don't necessarily want to give up in order to see their progress. They think, well, a diet is this. No, a diet is just the foods that you habitually consume. That's what a diet is. We're always dieting, or we're always on a diet, because it's just things we put in our body. Some people's diets are better than others. Who am I to judge, of course, but some people's diets consist of more whole foods, and some people's consist of more processed foods. And once again, that's up to you to decide how you want to treat your diet. But it's up to you to make those tweaks, because as I've said in previous videos, and it's cliche and it's very broad, but if something doesn't change, nothing's going to change. And maybe that's the definition of insanity or whatever, but in order for something to change, if we don't like the way we feel, or if we don't like the way that we're living our life, it's digging in deep and understanding what it is that we maybe need to change. And it's not always apparent, or it's not always obvious, but it's worth trying. It's worth trying to better yourself so you can be that person that you envision. So you can live within that harmonious balance of what you feel and how you act, and find that meeting in the middle to where you have the best of both worlds. And so I know I have the whiteboard here, but I didn't write on it, but the crash for slow and steady is, the crash is sexy because you can envision maybe in 2 weeks, losing 20 pounds, but I'm almost going to guarantee you, unless your motivation is super high, and I'm talking like a major life event, whether it's a health scare, whether it's a breakup, whether it's, the common things that I see with people, is that's not sustainable. I've had people tell me, the doctor has told my friend that they need to watch their calorie intake because of their diabetes or their heart condition. And so they've radically changed their diet, and they've lost 30 pounds in the last 4 months, or they've lost 30 pounds in the last 2 months. And the reason that is because they have that motivation. They have that switch that flips. And I don't want to compare it to like a near-death experience, but you see how some things in life can radically change people. And it happens seemingly overnight. And for most people, that's not us. We are just everyday people that are trying to lose a little bit of weight, and we don't have that hardcore motivation. So unless you have that hardcore motivation, I almost guarantee you that you're not going to be able to stick with it. So if you want to lose 30 pounds, rather than trying to lose 30 pounds in 1 month, maybe try to lose 30 pounds in 6 months. And I guarantee if you would have started 6 months ago, you would have been happy with that. But it's the idea of planning ahead. It's the idea of pushing yourself and falling in love and adopting this new lifestyle that you can sustain long term, because it's not about the weight, it's about the health, it's about how you feel, it's about the confidence. And I don't really have anything good to say about a crash diet. I really don't, and it sucks because that's how I started. My idea of losing weight was eat fewer calories and exercise more. And there was times where I was at the gym for a couple hours. And I also fell in love with the gym and the atmosphere, but it's not the long-term progress, and it's shifting those mindsets, and it's allowing ourselves to think beyond what we have in our limited knowledge. And it's looking for information from people like me, or from other fitness people that you trust, or friends that have experienced it, and just talk to them and just see what worked for you. And as much as it might feel embarrassing to ask, it's okay, because the people that are successful with certain areas, whether it's fitness and health, they're not going to judge you for the questions that you ask, because they know how hard it is to sustain it, but they also appreciate and they understand how rewarding it is. So it's sharing that knowledge, it's sharing that, rising tides, raise all ships. It's making everybody better without, hoarding all of that information. It's giving back. It's being gracious. It's okay. And ask somebody that you trust, see what kind of works. And maybe it doesn't necessarily work for you, but you can tweak to where it works for your lifestyle. Because you might ask a friend that doesn't have any kids, and you have kids, and you're used to cooking them lunch, and maybe you run into the French fries or the chicken nuggets, and maybe you start adapting their lunches to where maybe you have a little bit more whole foods, so you're feeding them stuff. So if you pick off their plate, you don't feel as bad. And there's these little tweaks that I can't tell you specifically what you need to eat, because your lifestyle is your lifestyle. The foods you like are the foods you like. The activities that you do are the activities that you do. I like playing basketball, I like playing golf. You might hate that, but for exercise, you might like dancing. You might like going for long runs. You might like something completely different than me, and that's okay. But it's understanding what works for you, and it's piecing it together. And the sooner that you start, the sooner that you'll see that success, and the more time you'll have on this earth with that confident you. And if you have any questions, send me an email, justin@fitasophical.com. You can visit the website, www.fitasophical.com. I am taking online clients currently. So if you want some sort of coaching, which includes, the calories, the protein, the workouts, the weekly check-ins, and the accountability and everything that comes with it, because it's not easy but it's the guidance that you need. And that's what my style is I hope to just guide you. I hope to empower you to take this on, to apply this to your life, rather than try to force my opinions and my lifestyle onto you. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you in the next video.